Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Star Trek Picard Seasons 1 and 2 on Paramount Plus. And I've got the jacket on because these seasons are like, holy shit. Now, to get the groundwork out of the way, yes, I'm more of a Star Wars fan than a Star Trek fan. That does not mean I hate all of Star Trek. Hell no. I do like a lot of what Star Trek has to offer, as it's more of a usually sci-fi kind of sci-fi harder science kind of stuff of like, okay, depending upon how things kind of progress, this is technology that could theoretically be possible with certain kind of things going on. It rarely deals in kind of the space magic that is more kind of the part and parcel of Star Wars, like, of course, the Force, Jedi and Sith and all that kind of thing, where that's more kind of like on sci-fi fantasy. That still does have its own kind of like tech things and everything, but usually it was going more of a kind of like science-y fact instead of like fucking plot demands magic kind of shit. So know that this doesn't come from a place of where I think Star Trek is shit. Though granted, if you watch this review, you could get that kind of impression. I don't. I've liked The Next Generation. I fucking love being able to see Captain James T. Kirk dropkick a fucking cowboy on the original. Like, that's just fucking nuts. Deep Space Nine, I've definitely got into more as I've talked with certain friends, like Reverb Jill Sandwiches, and getting more through it and actually kind of watching more of it. Voyager gets kind of a little bit like, what? It's mainly the regression of what has gone on with Star Trek, and these two seasons, hoo boy. Second season gets worse, and definitely ranks around the realms of, like, the bad seasons that I've had of Game of Thrones, Supernatural, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm just like, what in the fuck are you doing here? Alright, so normally if you were doing a kind of season review, this actually kind of order wouldn't be that bad, because season 1 is 10 episodes, season 2 is 2 episodes. Not 2 episodes, fuck. Ugh. Season 1 is 10 episodes, season 2 is 10 episodes as well, so that would be like 20, and that would equal you out to usually a kind of season that you would get in the past, because everybody for some reason, just because Game of Thrones did it, fucking was like 10 episodes. Some go even smaller than that. That's its own kind of rant. Okay, so background on what I was doing with this. Since my streaming kind of schedule of like reviewing certain things was going to get kind of nutty, what occurred is that I got a free trial of Paramount Plus due to my Game Pass Ultimate subscription. So I waited for Halo to be done so that way I could do that and review that, and thus I also binged this because my dad is into Star Trek as well, and we decided to watch it together and see kind of what was going on here. I would not really call this an accurate continuation of anything that happened after The Next Generation or Voyager. Both seasons feel like somebody wanted a story to tell and just grafted on Picard and The Next Generation and certain things pulled out of Voyager and whatnot. Okay? Because it's just fucking shit. It stretches like a story out so much with just 10 episodes. It's unreal. And the fillery nature of everything going on and wheel spinning puts to shame even some anime that I've gotten into. Like, at least in Dragon Ball, certain filler to like get for the manga to kind of catch up with, so that way you can like adapt that shit, wasn't as bad as like the filler shit that they were doing here. And it's just sometimes actors do not have as good of a bead on the characters as you think they would. Like, I like Patrick Stewart. I liked what he did with Picard in The Next Generation. Here, it's a very strange kind of Picard. At one point in season 1, he does a fucking French pirate for some fucking reason, and nobody thinks this is out of place. Like, because it's even on, like, this like casino, free cloud, Vegas fucking world, and it's mainly more of like an alien kind of clientele, and it is the worst, hammiest. Like, I don't mind hammy and cheesy and fucking strange if it works with the tone of what's kind of going on. This is an example of tonal clash that I've mainly seen in kind of animes and stuff, where certain things are going on and the seriousness and the comedy don't match up, and it's more of a clash than actually trying to, like, okay, here's the serious kind of thing we're having, and then what the fuck's going on here? So we see that Picard, after all the years, he was an admiral, he retired. This kind of brings it and kind of connects it with what was going on in the kind of Star Trek movies, i.e., at this point, Romulus's the Romulan homeworld, the sun was going to go supernova, and that, of course, is Spock stuff and everything going on. He goes, and then the other one. But Picard was trying to organize a fleet and kind of like help them off. Never mind the fact that the way this kind of is contrived doesn't make any sense, but however, they got a plot that needs to demand to do certain things, so here we go. Never mind the fact that the Romulan Empire is pretty fucking beefy, and unless someone freaking truly, like, cracked them a good one in the taint, them not being able to, like, get all their people off world is, like, really shaky ground. I mean, granted, I understand the Dominion War did some shit, but I didn't think it fucking, like, completely and utterly kneecapped the Romulan Empire to the point that they could not get their people off of their own homeworld. It's just really fucking weird. Anyway, Picard goes in, tries to, like, help out and everything, building up the fleet, trying to pretty much wrangle Starfleet into doing it and helping out. He kind of gets some, like, alright, fine, cool, whatever. I mean, I understand the Romulans have fucking, like, done shit and all that, but it's like, okay, the whole point of Starfleet is to help people, alright? And to have a kind of balanced stuff of, like, civilizations, because in all honesty, trying to figure out how the Klingons would have fit into the Federation is a big fucking issue. You know what I mean? Since they're usually more of a, like, war is so important to their culture and their warrior kind of nature, trying to get them to agree with anything with, like, the Vulcans, who are more on a logical based kind of issues, and the humans just be like, I don't know how to fucking deal with this shit, bro. Like, I'm just gonna toss triples and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but still they work out and they are able to come to a consensus and agreement. I mean, it's not like the Romulans were, like, sitting there and being like, it would be fucking horrible if our planet was gonna blow up, and then fucking shot it in the corners like, hey, anybody want to help me here? They'd still even help with that, but they'd still be like, you fucking shot yourself in the foot. Why did you do this? You know? It's the freak event of, like, hey, the sun's going supernova. How about we get these people off here and, I don't know, potentially, like, bury a hatchet? I mean, that would be a good kind of thing to be like, alright, guys, you kind of want to stop being assholes. We're going to help you. And then you can, like, do stuff in the Federation. That would have been an interesting thing to do that. Kind of want that story now. But that is not the story we get. We see that Picard is at his chateau. He has been pretty much exiling himself because of the failure, because there was an attack on Mars by synths. Because, God, it's fucking... Okay, we're just gonna go through... Now, granted, I could be like, here's what their whole journey is. Evidently, one of the two main new secret societies that we get throughout this whole fucking thing that everybody knows about, the amount of secret societies that pop up within just Romulan society that everybody outside of even Romulan society knows about. It's fucking insane. We got the Zhat Vash and warrior nuns. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like, okay, the way Kandor kind of stuff. Like, alright. And they don't like each other. Then you got the Tal Shiar and shit, which they have fucking unlimited resources because they kind of had the Zhat Vash kind of shit going on and have infiltrated Starfleet and everything. I don't mind the fact that Starfleet is infiltrated. It's just like, oh, the Romulans, they're kind of fucked up because their whole home planet exploded. However, they field a fucking giant armada by the end of this season. No shit makes sense. This is season 1. Sorry, I have to quantify that. So, Picard's at the chateau. He gets in this, he's pissed off because he's saying that Starfleet's not Starfleet. It's like, yeah, you're fucking right on point there. They would have helped those people. But it's like, no, we're not going to help them. It's like, alright. So Picard saved whoever he pretty much could and got that off. We are then introduced to the fucking stupid shit. Daj and, like, her boyfriend, and she's, like, got into this institute for, like, quantum computing kind of shit. And then these guys come in, fucking kill the boyfriend like nobody's business, and then somehow activate her shit. And she literally has a direct line in her head to plot relevant information. So does her twin sister, Soji. It is unreal how much it's like the plot needs to move forward, and they just essentially go, let her download it and fucking do it. It is comparable to the Welcome to the Raccoon City thing, where Wesker's walking around with a Palm Pilot that tells him how to fucking walk through the entire fucking game. It's like, hey, we need to do something. Soji download. Hey everybody, I'm Siri here. This is what we need to do, and this is the information everybody needs. Are you fucking shitting me? Like, she must have god-tier Wi-Fi and internet access to, like, the domain from Halo for all the information, because it pops up like that, unless Q's fucking around off screen going, give the info yet. Which doesn't sound like Q unless he's fucking with someone, i.e. the audience at this point getting meta on our asses. I could accept that to a certain degree, and that actually would have been somewhat better, but we have what we have. So, Daj is like freaking out, saw a vision thing, tried to talk to her mom, which really isn't her mom, it's just an AI handler program, and sees a vision of Picard, and somehow, magically, I understand that there are transporter technology, and you can get to a lot of places fast in Star Trek. However, it's just whiplashy that she's able to get to France and Picard's chateau that quickly, and be like, why do I keep seeing you? Do we know each other? It's like, I'm gonna help you. Alright. So, he's pretty much trying to get information on her. She looks familiar to what Data painted, and he, of course, is still sad that Data's dead, and it really affected him. He goes in, sees this thing, and it's called Daughter. It's like, how is this Data's daughter? It's like, what the fuck? And she's like, they're coming for us. And they then do this chase sequence, and, of course, these Romulan guys are trying to, like, kidnap her, but this one's dying, and then spits acidy shit that, like, blows up a thing and blows up Daj. And Picard should have rightly died. He was so close to it, and he's like, listen, I'm not trying to be ageist or anything like that. But Picard was so, like, if you're younger, alright, maybe you survived this explosion. I would have questioned anybody as close as Picard was to this explosion. He should have been fucking stained. Just bam! That's the end. Picard is done. The show is done. We're like one episode in this bitch. Alright, cool. We're done here. No more budget here, yeah. Beanie, nee. Go, budget rangers. That was unexpected. And never mind the fact that the Romulans keep doing this with, like, cyanide acid fucking throughout most of this shit. So, Picard somehow got back to his chateau because fucking reasons. His Romulan people who are former Tal Shiar, are like walking him through what's going on. It's like, what the fuck's going on? We have to find the sister because they're done in pairs. How is this a rule that was established? Fuck if I know. So he goes to meet this Rafi lady who was with him when he was an admiral, trying to help him do the whole kind of fleet thing. He was like, listen, you either do this or I resign. They said, fine, fuck you, old man, resign. And he resigned. And Rafi's like, ah, shit. And of course, her conspiracies of what was going on, even though they turned out to be true, put her down like a path of like drugs and drinking and shit like that. It's like, alright. I don't mind those things being introduced. However, we had a different kind of view of what had been going on throughout the Federation, throughout like TNG and Voyager, and that, yes, those things could be problems, but it's just kind of like, alrighty then, okay. Like, would she have other kind of places or whatnot to go through? It's really weird of it turning more into a fantasy kind of Star Wars kind of feel to what's going on here, because death sticks and shit like that. Not that I have an issue with them delving into substance abuse and everything. It's just it's not handled how Star Trek has usually handled it, and it's not executed as well. Because she's just this crazy lady smoking shit and being like, there's a conspiracy, fuck, It's like, alright. And then she's pissed at Picard, and Picard brings one. She's like, fine, fuck, whatever. And then she's eventually like, alright, cool, I'll get a ship for you to fucking try and find this girl. And then we are splitting up back and forth as Soji is on a Borg cube called the Artifact, and they are just fucking around with it. I don't know why the Romulans have fucking control of it. Hugh is also there because of some treaty with the Federation. I'm like, if anyone would have had control of it, it would have been a joint operation venture with, like, honestly, Romulus brought in, Federation pretty much doing everything so that way everybody has, like, equal access. Otherwise, then, like, hey, how about we have, like, the Romulans just have control of a fucking Borg cube? The taint punching never stops. So she kind of fucks around as this narc dude is trying to make sure that she doesn't activate herself and fucking destroy the people that are trying to get the information from her. However, I don't know why that doesn't work, because the Zatvash, we learn later on, had this vision that artificial life will get to a certain point that it will wipe out all organic life, and that they are trying to destroy the destroyers. And I don't know why they didn't get to the point of, like, why don't they die? Like, why don't you kill them to, like, solve this problem? Because that's usually how they would have fucking operated. I just keep finding holes, baby. I just keep finding holes. But they just fuck around, literally and figuratively. And it's just like, whatever, I don't care. He's able to walk her through, and she has her, like, kind of shit. It's like, hey, this is my homeworld. And it's like, alright. Because she learns she's essentially, like, 3 years old. Which brings really fucked up kind of shit to Narek, because, yeah, she might be in the body of, like, a 20-year-old, but she's 3 years old, and this makes me uncomfortable, and what the fuck? It also makes me uncomfortable for Daj and her boyfriend. So, Picard is like, alright, I gotta go save the sisters, so he starts gathering a crew. He gets Rafi. He talks to this Jurati doctor who worked with Bruce Maddox, and they're like, we gotta find Bruce Maddox to find Soji and find out what's kind of going on, because there's a ban on synths because of the synth shit. It's like, alright, fine, fuck, whatever. They get hooked up with Rios, who's fine. They don't really do much with him. I mean, they get him in that his whole, his former captain killed himself because they had run into 2 other synths. He was ordered to kill him, he did, and he didn't feel good about it and killed himself, and this was a big influential figure in Rios' life. So he's just pretty much been fucking around on his own ship and has created holograms of, well, he let the hologram thing download it for himself. It's like, alright, fine, whatever, cool. So they're fucking around. They go to the warrior nuns because Picard had pretty much talked with this kid, Eleanor, is like, hey, I kind of need your help. And they get Eleanor as kind of like a warrior elf dude. Yes, it's that kind of fucking obvious. Granted, your usual kind of traditional elves would be kind of like the Vulcans, but however, this is kind of like a woodland elf kind of situation of like they are more in tune with their emotions and shit like that. We get this kind of senator dude kind of calling his ass out, but then like fucking Eleanor's like, motherfucker, and chops his head off. So, then granted, it's not that kind of crazy, but it's like, you didn't have to do that, but whatever. So they're kind of going off. They go to Free Cloud to kind of find out Bruce Maddox. They also hook up with 7 of 9 for some reason, because they kind of wanted to use her. However, it's not really 7 of 9, because she's just angry revenge lady, and for some reason has met Picard, and they kind of have some kind of relationship of like, hey, I kind of know your ass, and hey, I kind of know your ass, but she's a ranger, and like, the Federation's not doing certain shit, so these rangers do things. I understand that there's certain kind of, pretty much, you'd have like outlaw kind of territories, I guess. However, this isn't working on the same level as Star Wars, where you're like, the Outer Rim, Empire don't go really out that far. I mean, they'll pop up every once in a while, but I mean, you gotta fucked if you're like fucking with certain shit, because you got them, you got the Hutts, you got a lot of weird shit going on there. So it's not like that, you know what I mean? It's like, alright, whatever. But she's got beef with this one lady that's got Bruce Maddox, and Maddox is like, they're coming for me, and she's like, I'm gonna sell you to the Dallas Jar, and she's like, I'm gonna take this person out, and we learned that Icheb was killed by Seven because he asked her to, because this lady had taken out his ocular implant. Now, granted, I understand it's painful and everything. I saw no wound or anything that he would have been like, you know what? Just fucking kill my ass. Even though they've got tech and shit that would have worked out well. Because, here's the thing. Plot demands that Ichib was like, I need to die. And then Seven is like, I have to kill you. And then I will be like burning with vengeance for this bitch. And she then blasts the bitch after they do the whole fucking stupid shit. As we get shitty ass Ocean's 11 shit where it's like do where like editing is fucking horrendous and nauseating, where they're going back and forth showing what's kind of going on with the plan and everything. That's where we get fucking French ass Picard going on. They get Maddox. Seven goes back, vapes the bitch, and then she kind of like fucks off for a little bit. They get Maddox on board. They get some information. She's like on the Borg cube, so they get to the Borg cube. Girardi kills him because she was tasked by Commander O, who is evidently, we learn at the endgame scenario, half Vulcan, half Romulan, and she's of the Zhat Vash, and she gives her this kind of tracker and doesn't even tell Girardi to fucking eat it before Girardi fucking eats it. And she's like, you gotta chew it. It's like, why the fuck did she need to eat it? Like, you just said, here's a tracker. Like, and then she didn't ask, where do I need to do it? What do I need to do with this thing? She just fucking ate it. Never mind that Girardi's character is just... I don't hate the actors or anything in this. Their content is shit. Because she is, like, hyper mouth exploding, just like, bleh, like, vomit shit. Like, I'm like, alright. So she kills Maddox, and then she, of course, hand-rings about it, brings it up with the people. She screws Rios before that pops up, just to have more drama and tension on the ship. And continues on. That, of course, dives up with, like, Soji. They try to kill her, but Picard pops up there, has a nice kind of talk with Hugh, and then they are... Picard's trying to help her out as the Romulans are trying to take her. Hugh's able to get into the Queen's chamber and opens up this convenient slingshotty kind of teleport fucking thing, and they fling Picard and Soji pretty much to the planet that Riker and Troy are on, and we get introduced to her daughter. They had a son that died, but he would have been alive if they had access to some kind of stuff, but because of the ban, he died instead, and it kind of sucked, but they try and kind of like help him get acclimated with Soji and Soji as well. They're able to figure out where the planet is, and they pretty much get taken there. Seven has to fuck with the Borg cube because of the bastards on there. Kind of hooks up and tries to utilize the drones, kind of like a queen, which she's not really down for, but they've already killed Hugh, so they're not going to be doing that. Yeah, that's right. Elnor stayed behind to kind of like fuck with Narek's sister. However, Rios and Raffi and Girardi are pretty much going to try and figure out where Picard and them are. They get there, get them back up, and then Soji's able to pretty much open up a trans-warp conduit to her homeworld. They go there, a flower thing kind of fucks with them. It's like, alright, space flowers, whatever the fuck now. They get down there, there's like synths and everything like that. We see fucking Sung again, except this is like Sung's biological kid, brother to Data and all that shit. It's like, yeah, we got them here, we'll just try and like protect them and everything. And then they fucking have this fucking one. It was pretty much like Data / Soji kind of shit. Do a mind meld on Girardi, which makes no fucking sense because lore-wise, I only thought that like the Vulcans could really do that, and I'm like, alright, this is a synth, and I don't get how that kind of works out. Like, if some other biological being was able to like figure out the mind-to-mind kind of shit, alright, I get that. Or if the machines had a kind of mind-to-mind thing, sure, I get that. However, doing it from synthetic to organic, that's kind of fucked up, but they're just like, hey, guess what? The plot demands it, so we ain't gonna talk about it, bitch. and we find out that it's not a warning, but that it's a warning to other synths that organics will try and kill your ass, so build this beacon to bring us out. And this is where it completely and utterly rips off the Mass Effect shit. Okay? That's the Reapers. They come, they think that any kind of thing between a synth and an organic is an inevitable war, so the thing is, they send in these giant synth Reapers to reap certain organics and stop this whole kind of war thing. Yes, they ripped off Mass Effect. So they're like, guess what, people? Fuck this shit. So they essentially, Sutra? I think. I didn't give a crap at a certain point. I'm just like, what fucking hell is going on next? Teamed up with Narek, they both kind of killed this other synth, and she's able to pretty much turn the rest of the synths against the organics. Picard gets kind of locked in a room. Girardi's kind of helping Sung do some shit, and they're working on this golem thing that you can mind transfer. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Picard's got a condition that'll potentially kill him, i.e., oh, look how sad. Picard dies, and then he lives again in an old body. It should live as long as you were supposed to. I'm like, if I pretty much get dead, and you have the ability to transfer me into a body, fuck that noise. Put me at like what you think my kind of prime age is, and let's go from there. But you don't have budget for that, so you essentially went with a cheap plot-demanded resurrection technique to just be like, ooh, it's okay, and then it's like, alright, season 2, hey, let's try and shock Picard. Bzz, fucked up the defibrillator. Why? Fuck this shit. So they've only got like 15 flowers, so they use some of the flowers to pretty much hold off Picard and send out pretty much a distress signal. They were going to be staging a group at Deep Space 12, but Soji's like, fuck that noise, I go straight to my homeworld. It's like, I know that we don't know how fast the Romulan fleet, which shouldn't exist, is getting here, but you kinda want more than one fucking ship to fight them, don't you? I mean, you could be like, they're coming to kill you, and it's like, I don't have dick to defend you with. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Oh, yeah. So, they send the flowers. The artifact cube popped up and got crash landed on the planet, which should have done vastly more damage because those things are built in space and would be fucking cracked. I don't know how it would get back off the planet, to be honest with you, but fucking details. They kind of fuck with it. Seven fights the fucking bitch sister and kicks her down a hole. Whoop. Narek tries to do certain shit, but I don't give a fuck. Picard's pretty much trying to hold him off. Girardi's able to pretty much do a kind of hologram maneuver to confuse the fleet as the flowers are fucking around. But of course Riker pops in, does a kind of tense standoff, tells him to eat shit, and the Commodore General, they start changing up her fucking shit ass titles out of nowhere. Never mind that the Romulan ships really don't look like Romulan ships. I'm just like, wow, that design fucking sucks, but continue. And the things are almost being called, but Soji's like, fuck this shit, because Picard pretty much sacrificed himself to stop this shit and says, you have the choice, you do it, and she stops it, and the ban on synths is gone. We have these two stage fleets, but they're like, fine, fuck it, we're out. So the Romulans leave, the Federation ships leave, and then Picard dies, and everybody's sad, and then they put him in the new body, and he's like, hey, I'm not immortal now, am I? No, you got the same amount of time you would have lived if you didn't have the condition. He's like, I wouldn't mind 10 or 20 years. And then everybody's like, alright. Yeah. Yeah, that's where the stupid shit goes. Then we get to season 2, which is about like a year and a half later. Rios is in command of his own ship. Eleanor's gotten through Starfleet. Girardi has been working with Soji and has been like broken up with Rios. Picard's just doing his own kind of stuff, and then we learned that like the Tal Shiar people that lived with him, the woman lost her husband and tried to make some moves on Picard, but Picard's like, no, like Picard's he's usually more kind of closed off to those emotions. He's not closed off completely. He has a lot of trouble expressing that stuff. And we learned throughout this season, because they decided to introduce time travel and Q doing weird, stupid shit because he's dying. Never mind that's not explained because that's not important to the plot. Is it? Oh, you mean like a nigh omnipotent, godlike kind of being, just like, you know what, I'm fucking dying. I don't know how, I don't know why, but whatever. Oh, it hurts me. It fucking hurts me. It fucking hurts me. Oh yeah. This one is vastly worse because it essentially takes what would normally have been a two-parter in, like, The Next Generation or whatnot, and it stretched it out to 10 episodes. Like, huh. It's just really, like, if you like these seasons, that's good for you. I'm happy. I'm glad. But when I'm actively trying to think, you know what? I'd rather light my taint on fire than do this. That doesn't bode well for me. Alright? Now granted, I would not take that extreme option. I would just be like, you know what? This isn't for me. I'm out. But I kind of wanted to see where it went and what was going on and to understand why I didn't like it. Because this just goes all over the place. Doesn't care about lore, doesn't care about character, just fucking goes willy-nilly and does whatever the fuck it wants. Okay? And that... Then why the fuck is this Star Trek? Why the fuck is this Picard? So Picard's kind of dealing with that. He kind of goes to give the commencement speech to the new graduates, which was, alright, cool. I liked seeing Captain Rios, and I'm like, hey, I kind of want to see Rios do some kind of shit. Well, guess what? I get to the end of the season. Fuck me, that ain't happening. Because they're just kind of going around. We learned that there's an anomaly. They need Girardi. It's this giant Borg hole. It's always a fucking Borg hole. So they get there, and this queen's doing some shit. She's like, listen, I need to talk to Picard. I need to do this kind of shit. Well, someone from Starfleet comes to Picard's like, they're calling for you. They want to join the Federation. Shit like that. It's like, that's kind of fucking weird. So they get there. She's like shooting stun bolts, which is very odd, and trying to get the fleet to like do its own kind of stuff. Picard initiates a auto-destruct sequence, and then for some reason gets teleported into a fascist kind of totalitarian future where Seven is not Borg, but instead the president of this like xenophobic fucking place that's like killed all this stuff. Picard's like this war dude that's killed people, like vast amounts of people, like Gul Dukat, Sarek, all these people. Rafi's in there. Eleanor's kind of like a freedom fighter. Like, what the fuck? It's really kind of weird because it's like, guess what? When you're doing an alternate universe kind of thing, just because you are that kind of person doesn't mean that you, like, inhabit their body. Alright? There should technically be two versions walking around. Alright? Fucked up warrior card that's, like, killed motherfuckers. And Human 7 and Borg 7. Fuck. However, it's Eradication Day or something to that fucking effect where they're gonna fucking kill the Borg Queen to set an example of like, oh, this is the might of humanity. I'm like, I don't give a fucking shit. Q's like, hey, Picard, I'm giving you the final trial kind of shit. And he slaps Picard, like, with a backhand like a fucking pimp. I'm like, why? Why would Q do that? Q has never really gotten physical like that with really anybody. Because he can, like, do... and do that shit. And evidently he was pretty much like the same as, oh, mon capitaine, let me change my shit so that way I look the same, so that way we don't need to do budget on this shit. Alright, fine, whatever. Like, what the fuck's going on? There's evidently an anomaly in 2024 because, hey, fuck the budget, right? Because they spent it all on that fucking fleet and didn't do jackass shit with it. So now we gotta go to 2024 because they don't have the budget to do any cool shit. So that means we get a dogfight with some drones, a fucking crazy-ass another Soong that gets macked out with fucking Khan Project, which, by the way, the amount of genetic invariability within the Soong family of being able to have someone that looks like Soong in 2024, 24th century, twice! Like, regular Soong that we know that built Data, and then his fucking kid that looks exactly like him. It's like, what the fuck? But they're trying to figure out what's going on, so of course we do all this fucking shit because they used the ship to slingshot. Eleanor pretty much gets killed by, like, one of the fascist fuck dudes that was actually, like, Seven's husband. Because fuck that dude. I mean, they barely did a lot of shit with him in the first season, but they're just like, hey dude, fuck you. So they essentially kill him in the first episode and then bring him back as, like, an hologram that played Keep Away Potato from the Borg Queen for codes. Which, actually, as the Borg can't assimilate a hologram like that, why don't you just have that fucker running around just, like, taking out all the goddamn Borg? I'm like, shit. That's a pretty big fucking design flaw there, but whatever. So, they had taken the Borg Queen because they needed her to pretty much calculate shit to do the slingshot that Kirk did, because fuck original ideas, alright. Go back to 2024, they crash land at Picard's villa as he then, well, Chateau, as we are dealing with all of his shit. He's dealing with his memories of his mother because his mother had mental illness and he had opened her door as a child and she ran out and she killed herself. And this deeply affected him and his ability to love. I'm not against that in theory. However, the way it's handled and the way it's executed is fucking annoying as shit and just fucking nutty as hell, as well as not even acknowledging that he has an older brother. It's just like, hey, fuck lore, right? Never mind the fact, we're in 2024, so we got Seven running around with Rafi, and then Rios has to be fucking picked up because they fucking dropped him because Girardi was, like, doing some shit with the transporter, and he falls down, and he gets put into a clinic, and he gets, like, arrested by, like, ICE, and because we have to do that, not because of his demographics or anything, but the thing is, they have a bad thing of following certain kind of stuff of like, hey, we put him in, like, the present day, so somebody's got to get arrested so that way we can draw this shit out more. That happens twice! Like, he gets it so that way he can be introduced to his lady love, so that way he can have his Captain America Endgame moment where he stays in the past to fuck everything up. And it fucking happens to Picard and Guinan because a dude saw some fucking Vulcans when he was a kid, man. Never mind, that ain't fucking important to the plot. Just fucking spin shit until Q pops up because they needed some kind of fucking thing to do it. That's just like, God, I understand dealing with timely issues when you're in, like, present day kind of time period. However, it's just sloppy, lazy shit that's not executed well. Like, if they were doing it for some kind of purpose to talk about something or whatnot, fine, cool. That isn't even really here. It's just to spin wheels because otherwise they'd be able to, like, fix this plot like that. Because it technically could have been 2 fucking episodes they didn't need to fucking do. Like, hey, guess what, motherfucker, you're gonna get arrested. You get arrested once and put into this bus so that way we can have fucking Seven and Rafi try and, like, plan their escape and shit. Yeah. Do we need that sequence? No. Oh, guess what? Picard and Guinan get fucking arrested by the FBI because of this crazy-ass dude who's just in this thing. Whatever. I don't fucking care. So, they have to find the Watcher. Picard thinks it's Guinan. We get introduced to Guinan, who doesn't remember him because the first time they actually met was in, like, the 1800s because of that whole thing, but fuck that lore, that's right. Of course, she's talked about everything that's going on at the time period and everything, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking leave this place. She's like, you're probably the Watcher. It's like, no, she's not the Watcher. But this person who looks suspiciously like the Romulan lady, Laris, who is watching over Rene Picard, his ancestor, who needs to go to Europa to find this organism that does some shit. Because if the little change turns it into fascist motherfucking shit. So he's dealing with the shit with his mother. He's dealing with, like, this lady who at first isn't a Romulan, but then starts cursing as a Romulan, gets Romulan shit. We find out she is a Romulan watching over shit. It's like, why? I don't fucking know. But she's been watching over her whole life. It's like, one Renee must live, one Renee must die. Of course. Sung pretty much kills her with some kind of, like, nanotoxin, but it's like her dressed up as Renee, and she's like, she's going off, cool. That's towards the end, but they do all this kind of stupid shit. We get this gala event where they're trying to, like, watch her ass. It's like the shortest episode. It's fucking stupid because Picard gets hit by a car at the end, and then they try and figure out he's in his mind, and of course the Laris that's not Laris is kind of helping him with that shit, and they do get him through that shit. We get this whole thing where Jurati got looked up and hooked up because they needed the coordinates for the Watcher to the Borg Queen, so she's like the Borg Queen puts nanites and shit in her and is like trying to fight for her body, and evidently endorphins either help accelerate the Borg assimilation process or don't, which doesn't make much sense because if you're being assimilated, it's a vast violation of who you are, so your emotions and shit would be pretty high and be like, fuck you motherfuckers. I don't know why I'm going Power Rangers today, but it kind of fits with what I'm going for. So, she starts singing for no fucking reason, Pat Benatar. And I'm like, why is this here? And then she goes walking around trying to get, like, endorphins flowing so the Queen can take over, and she starts eating fucking cell phone and car batteries to make nanites in her stomach. It's bullshit, it's fucking stupid, and it's just stupid. Like, the monumental, like, that's not how any of that works. If she needed to take the batteries and make them into something, to make them into nanites or whatnot, I can buy that. Not it's like, me Borg Queen, me eat battery, make more Borg. No. Fucking what kind of magical bullshit are you doing? Oh my god. So, she's fucking doing that. She doesn't kill some people because Jurati's like, don't kill my friends. And Borg's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Well, Sung is doing his stupid shit with, like, a bio daughter that's trying to make it look like he's doing shit for genetic experiments and shit. And I'm just like, I literally don't care. Q, like, tries to give him shit. He's like, stop her from going to Europa. Okay. Kind of does. Runs over Picard, and then he gives Kore, who is Soji, not Soji, because they need the same actors to use this stuff, and she's free, and she's like, fuck you, Dad, runs off, works with the Borg Queen, tries to shoot off some drones to, like, stop the launch and everything like that, and that doesn't work. The Borg Queen launches the ship, and they kind of, like, fight. They take out all these Borgified people. Picard gets his shit together with his mother's shit, able to get in. Jurati almost kills Seven, but instead fuses together with the Borg Queen, reborgifies Seven to save her life, and then it's like, alright, listen, I'm going to let you do this shit, so I'm going to take this ship, and I'm going to go do my shit. Never mind the fact that that's going to fuck up the time stream, but who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Because it's just going to mess with everything. Nobody gives a flying fuck. So, they pretty much get off the ship. They go off. The Europa mission goes off. Kore's looking at shit. Sung pretty much starts figuring out how to do con shit. They're all back at Chateau Picard because even though it's not 2024, they can all somehow get to the chateau pretty cool and pretty quickly. It's just like, whatever. Fuck it. Then we get Picard pretty much having a nice kind of little scene. I appreciated what was trying to do here. However, there's still a lot of shit because we learned that Q was doing this because he's dying and he's going to die alone, and he doesn't want Picard to do that, so I wanted him to come to terms with all the shit that he's done. and try to not die alone. And then, of course, he'll get sent back to the future and get together with Laris. And I like that in theory, okay? Like, it's just the execution and everything that has gone on with this. It's just like, there are vastly better ways to do this, Q. With even just Picard being involved. If you just did, like, a 2-hour episode with just Picard doing that kind of shit, you would have been a vastly better kind of thing. Because, alright, okay, cool, I get that. And granted, there has been some kind of frenemy kind of thing going on with Q, even though it's more kind of enemy, because Picard would kind of probably view it more as antagonistic, because Q's a godlike being that's been fucking with shit with Picard forever. And it's like, why do you keep doing this? Am I going to wake up one morning with my head as a butt plug? That's the kind of shit that Q would do. And I'd be a weird captain if you ever fucked, like, I'm a captain of a starship. Q, watch your ass. I do not want to wake up as a butt plug, you asshole. And the thing is, the minute I say that, Q would be like, you just gave me an idea, motherfucker. And I'm like, stop that shit. Fuck you. But then again, I'd be like, ugh. But they have a kind of nice little moment of coming to terms with that stuff. Rios stays back. She's like, ooh, that I could add a little something else to this thing. And he's like, no, you're not going to die alone. As Picard gives him a hug, and Q appreciates that. So I do like that kind of stuff. All right? I don't mind them burying the hatchet and kind of coming to terms with each other. Someone who thinks of themselves as a god and being able to do the kind of stuff, and Picard just try to be a dude and, like, see shit, explore shit, and do shit, and just get that next kind of step and moving forward. Kind of like people at different kind of, like, levels and plateaus kind of, like, acknowledging each other. You know what I mean? So they send him back. We get back to pretty much the same bit with the Borg Queen and all that, and I'm thinking, please God, don't be the mother, but it's like, hey, it's Jurati. Because that was a red herring to pretty much throw you off, because of how much that the mother says that kind of shit. So, they're back. Eleanor's back and alive. Rios is back in the past. Guinan's like, hey, I tried to, like, lead you a little bit. Gives the lowdown on what happened with Rios, and that they were cool, and that he died in, like, a bar fight when he was an old bastard. So they worked together with Jurati Queen. I was like, hey, we gotta tune all this stuff because there's this trans-warp thing that's going on. I almost thought it was like species 8472 or whatnot being popped up or whatnot, but it's just like, no, we don't know what's going on. But they get everything worked out, and everybody's kind of like, cool. Card gets his booty and shit. Everybody had their kind of shit, and it worked out. Borg Queen is accepted provisionally into the Federation, and is going to guard the giant fucking hole that was going to, like, blast off and destroy shit. It's like, we don't know who's back there, but it's probably a threat. It's like, huh, guess what? You just fucking Deep Space Nine this motherfucker, didn't you? So Jurati is like weird Borg Cisco guarding another hole to essentially the Gamma Quadrant. Gamma Quadrant? Sorry, I just trying to, like, I might be mixing up some of my Star Trek references. Yeah. What was... They were lost in the Delta Quadrant. Voyager. I don't know. This shit hurts me. And the only thing... Like, Deep Space Nine had this wormhole to another quadrant. So, them having it like this, I'm just like, you're just copying shit that's done better and... Whatever. Fuck it. All I know is Jurati's not popping up in Season 3. And... If I get another free trial... Sure. I might watch it. Just for the fucking lulz and shit to just review and then break this shit out, because fuck character development, fuck lore consistency, and fuck anything resembling a good-ass plot and a good use of budgetary stuff for your CGI, but... Be careful when you binge shit like this, because the brain breaking goes faster and piles on more. Oh my god. Second season was definitely in the bad. Now, if you like this, good for you. I'm happy for you. I don't think you're a bad person. I don't think that's wrong to like this. That's cool. I'm glad for you. I'm happy for you. I ain't that. Nope. I'm like, nope. Nope. Now, even though I got Game Pass Ultimate, I'm glad I didn't really pay for this. Because so far, I'm like, alright, these 2 seasons, nope. Halo, nope. Paramount is working on a lot of noping for me to do with this. I'm like, alright, thank you for trying. I will look at other streaming services. Thank you very much. It was a trip, man. It was a trip. 20 episodes. Oof. Oof. Yeah. So those are my opinions on the seasons. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it. If you didn't like it. If you agree with me. If you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe. And I hope you have a good day.